You know, Michael J. Fox comes in here often. He's always looking for your stuff. And then she printed out a receipt to show me, you know, and I'm looking at the receipt, you know, this, that, and then my hat is there. And she said he loves your stuff, and he comes back all the time looking to get a hat from you. So Michael J. Fox, you know, is one of my clients.
Yo! Today we're gonna talk with Will Roberson, who now is a fashion designer. I knew him when he was just a music producer, and we met actually within fashion. We met at a slow wear sample sale
in Soho.
Over in Soho.
In New York, yeah.
New York City.
Yep.
And we're here in the Upper West Side, and we're gonna talk about something the everyday man should have an interest in. How do you make a cap so popular that celebrities are buying it left and right? And should you be rocking this cap? Will in the building. How are you, man?
How are you?
I'm well, man.
Yes.
So before we go into our topic.
Good to be here. Good to be
here.
Hey,
well, it's good to be here because we are your guests.
Yes. This is my rooftop.
This is a dope setup.
Thank
Love
you.
this deck. This is.
Thank you.
We're moving on up at the Fashion Geek podcast.
No doubt.
So before we go into our topic, please tell us. So what do you do?
I am a designer. I've actually always been a designer.
Did not know that.
Yeah. I got my first job designing in the 80s. I think it was like 1988. I was walking into an office with a friend of mine named Clarell Henderson, and we were going into a gentleman's office. His name was Gene Griffin.
Griff?
Yeah. Yeah, he was scary.
Yeah, Griff. Yeah, Griff. Yeah.
So at the time,
I'm a New Yorker. Yes.
Yeah, at the time he had Teddy Riley and Guy and Rex in effect. And so actually I walked into the office and Gene saw some shoes that I was wearing, and I had painted like some African faces on some black suede Very Uomo shoes. And so I walk in and he looks at me, he stops everybody in the office, and he says, "Where did you get those shoes?" I said, "Oh, I did that myself." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, well, then you need to start doing stuff for Rex in Effect." I said, "All right." He said, "They have a show coming up at the Palladium."
Oh my God, Palladium.
Yeah. They had a show at the Palladium, and at the time, Rex in Effect had the #1 song in the country,
Rump Shaker.
Rump Shaker. And so Gene gave me some money, and he told me to make some denim jackets for Rex in Effect. So I went and I bought some denim jackets and I painted them and I embellished them with crystals and stuff like that and delivered backstage at the Palladium at the show. I just delivered straight backstage and they put them on and they went out on stage and performed. That was my first experience as a designer. I think I was probably around like 16 or 17 years old.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool story. I did not know that.
Yeah, and ever since then, I've been making stuff for myself, and every now and then I would have private clients that, you know, make something for me. So I've always had experience, like, working with fashion.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Did not know that. And for those of you listening that are new, this is not his first rodeo on the pod. So since the first time you came on the pod till now, I did not know any of that.
Okay.
But now here we are, your second time on the pod.
Yes.
You've got this.
Hats.
But
Yes.
more importantly, it's who is wearing these hats.
Right.
So
everybody.
Brooke Shields has rocked your cap.
And posted it on her Instagram too.
Yes, I saw that. I do my research. Michael J. Fox rocks your cap.
Yes.
And now we're going to keep it very, very cultural between he and I, and only certain people in New York. The late Alpo,
Yes.
AKA Paid in Full, if you've ever seen this movie,
Yes.
rocked your cap.
Yes.
A blue velvet joint.
And the black too.
And the black.
Yeah, the black and the blue velvet. I decided in 2020 to make hats. Before that, I was making coats.
Why did you decide in 2020 that you wanted to start designing hats?
Well, like I said before, I decided to do hats. I was making coats. And I was working with my ex-lady, Alicia.
Yep, I know her.
And,
big shout out.
Yeah, she was assisting me. And we were making very elaborate coats with army coats with fur on the inside and fur that you can take off and all that stuff. And we put together around 10 coats and I sold 9 of them. I just have 1 left. My first coat I sold to a good friend of mine named Amy Homewood. And she paid $2,000 for my first coat.
That name is going to come back. I've done my research.
It's going to come back.
Yeah, I know this name.
So, in making the coats, it took a lot of money to make them, you know, because of all of the different details and the fur and all that stuff.
The sourcing.
The sourcing, the sizing. I have everything made in the garment district in New York
Oh,
City.
nice.
Yeah. So, it was successful, but it was just a lot of work, you know? So 2020 comes around, the pandemic hits, I'm walking around Lower Manhattan, and I was wearing a blue velvet hat. And I noticed I got about 20 to 30 compliments on a blue velvet hat that I was wearing. And I think on the 30th compliment, I took the hat off and I looked at it, and I said, if they like this hat, I'm gonna make hats that people are gonna love. And that's my journey. I started in 2020. I started with the street guys in Harlem.
And you're from Harlem?
I'm from Harlem,
You're from uptown?
Yes, I'm from Harlem. I made my first hat. I wore it. And a friend of mine named Rock, he was in the record business. Him and Dame Grease had DMX.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, he invested in the first DMX albums, my friend Rock. And I made my first black velvet hat, and he saw it, and he just snatched it off my head. Yeah, he saw me wearing it and snatched it off my head and put $150 in my hand. And that's how I sold my first hat. I wasn't even trying to sell it. Right? So after that, Alpo was around. He had come home from prison in 2015, and when he came back to Harlem, he wanted to get with the guys in Harlem that were movers and shakers. So he was with Harlem American, the Harlem Gatsby, and also Mel Maxi. Mel Maxi is a designer who does a lot of celebrities: Wendy Williams, Rakim. What's the guy? Kevin Gates. He does a lot of people. And so Mel Maxi one night said, "Will, I want to buy a hat from you." He said, "Meet me at Barrel Wine on 120th and Lenox at 8 o'clock." So Barrel Wine was a spot during the pandemic that a lot of movers and shakers would congregate at, you know. So one night I met him there at 8 o'clock, and in front of a whole group of people, I bought the hat, I gave it to him, and he purposely did it where everybody could see him paying me for the hat.
Nice.
So that was like him kind of like
the
stamping it, you know, like yo, this is hot.
Legit.
Don't ask him for nothing, you know. Don't try to get nothing free.
No hookup.
Right. I'm paying him for that, right? And then after that, Alpo also supported me and started wearing my hats, you know. And there's several videos on YouTube that you can see Alpo wearing the blue velvet or the black velvet. And Alpo also paid. He bought the hats from me. Nothing was free. He paid for them. And so Alpo was also known as a fashion icon because he's one of the guys that helped put Dapper Dan on back in the day.
Remember?
Yeah. So he used to get bags of clothes from all kinds of designers. And one day I saw him with a bag, and he was like, "Yo, I'm not wearing this shit." So he made a conscious effort to support what I was doing. And my loyalty to him was because he was loyal to me, and our association was purely from a fashion standpoint. You know, I would get calls from some of my friends sometimes, some street guys that I know, and they would say, "Why are you hanging out with Alpo? you know, the streets aren't finished with him yet. They was like calling me out of concern. Like, yo, you know, I wouldn't be hanging out with him, you know, the streets aren't done, you know. But I'm like, you know what, nah, he supported me, so I'm gonna support him.
I feel funny, can't tell me nothing different. My nose twitching, intuition setting in like Steve Vision. I still close my eyes, I still see vision. Still hear that voice in the back of my mind. So what I do, I still take heed, I still listen. I still paint that perfect picture. I still shine bright like a prism. My words still sing. I know you can't.
You know, and that's how that came about.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it literally sounds like, you know, you're from uptown. You're a Harlem son.
Yeah.
Right? Just out of the strength and the love of your own community.
Yeah.
They put you on.
Yes. Yep. Harlem is worldwide. Harlem is known as a style, culture, music, dance. You know, it's. I mean, like Diddy claims Harlem. You know, even though Diddy is like from Mount Vernon.
Right.
But he always made sure he had that connection to Harlem, because Harlem worldwide is known as a trendsetter.
Right.
So it was only natural that I started in the streets of Harlem, you know, with my new product, my hats.
Around a year or so ago, you know, here in the city, and for everyone who's listening, the 50th anniversary of hip hop was done in a very big way here in New York City.
Yes.
Will and I are both natives. I went to an event at the New York Public Library on Fifth Avenue.
Okay.
And Charlie Ahern was there for Wild Style. Fab Five Freddy was there.
Yeah, I know Fab.
I'm sure you do.
I made a coat for Fab, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, I made a coat for Fab, and I gave it to him as a gift. Me and Alicia went to his house one day. He has a brownstone up in Harlem. And I made the coat for Fab, and I showed up one day with Alicia, and we rang the doorbell, and I had a bottle of champagne, right? And so he opens the door, and I'm like, yo, Fab, I have your coat. Because I called Fab, I said, yo, Fab, I'm going to make a coat for you. So I showed him the pictures, he loved it. He said, yo, all right, bring it by. So brought the coat to his house, and at first he was a little bit apprehensive because he thought that maybe I was looking to sell it to him or something. But when he saw the bottle of champagne, he realized, like, nah, man, this is for you, man, because Fab is a cultural icon, man.
Yeah.
He's somebody.
Tastemaker.
He's a tastemaker. He's somebody that if I could do it all over again, he's one of the people that I would like to be reincarnated as, because Fab was at the beginning of culture in so many different aspects. You know, friends with Basquiat. He did the first hip hop tour in Europe. You know, he was a graffiti artist. Like, Fab is a huge culture guy, and I look up to him.
Well, there was another person who I'm assuming you know, because I'm looking at this cap on this person, and I'm going, wait, it was Mindy Wyatt.
Oh yeah, you know Mindy?
I met Mindy at the event.
Oh, okay.
And we kicked it.
Okay.
And she introduced me to Fab.
Okay.
But she has your cap on. I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm like, this is.
Yeah.
Well, what is this? This is.
Wildfire.
Like, what's going on?
Well, Mindy is also a New York City legend. Mindy owns an editing company called Rafik Film and Editing Company, and she's had it for about maybe almost 30 years. But she was a student of Rafik, and she used to work there. Rafik passed away, and when he passed away, he gave her the company to continue the legacy.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's older than, like, you know, than
us.
Yeah, it's older than us, yeah. Yeah, so Mindy and I have been friends for a very long time. I met Mindy when I was editing a project about maybe 25 years ago, and we've been tight, close friends ever since. And she's one of my clients, man. She's purchased paintings, and she's purchased maybe 4 or 5 hats from me. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah, man. I was totally.
I didn't know it was Mindy. You told me you saw somebody, but I didn't know it was Mindy.
Yeah, well, you know, I knew one day this may happen, so I gotta, I gotta keep it on the low. I can't,
okay. Okay, yeah.
That was the person, and it just, I went, okay, what is going on?
Yeah, man. It's everywhere, man. You know.
Well, it literally is everywhere, because in my research, people are rocking your caps in Rio.
Yes, all over the world. All over the world. Rio, London.
The UK, yeah, London.
Yeah, I had a client flyer from the UK about maybe 2 months ago to come get her custom hat, you know. Yeah, all over France, Paris, everywhere. Yeah.
All right. So, you know what? I'm going to leave that question.
Okay.
I want you to explain to me and the audience the history, the story of this logo, which you call Lucky.
Okay. All right. Lucky is a dog, a foxhound. In 2011, I was hired to do a video called All Dogs Don't Go to Heaven. And I drew a caricature of a dog that I wanted an artist to make some cardboard dogs for me. And I was going to have the dogs like burning in the streets. You know, it was an idea that I didn't use though. But the drawing, I took it and I drew it, I threw it in the drawer. And about 2 years later, I was at a meeting with someone and I took my box of ideas and the drawing fell out. My friend, his name is Dennis Hamilton. And the drawing fell out of the box and he picked it up and looked at it and he said to me, did you draw this? So I said, yes. He said, you know what? You need to be doing more of that. I said, okay, fine. You know, because I'm a person, I view everything as like the universe is talking to me, God is speaking to me. You know, like when I kept getting the compliments on the hat, I took it off and I looked at it and I said, you know what? That's the universe telling me this is something that I should probably be doing. So when he said, you did that, do more of it, I said, say no more. So I started making paintings of the dog, and I had my first art exhibition with Lucky at a gallery called Rock's Gallery on the Lower East Side. It was the coolest gallery on the Lower East Side. So I had my first exhibition at Rock's, and at that exhibition, there was like 1,000 people that came out. It wasn't just me, it was a group show.
Understood.
Me, Peter Beard, Sean Lennon, Natalie White. There was a lot of well-known artists at this show, but the Huffington Post came down and covered my exhibition of my paintings of Lucky and wrote a huge piece on me as an artist and my history, you know, because when I was 14 years old, I was 12, I had an opportunity to paint with Willem de Kooning.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah. And so this is now the 10-year anniversary of me creating Lucky, you know. And, you know, when I decided to turn it into fashion and put it on fashion, it became a logo that when people see that, they know it's me. Because you need to have symbols. People follow symbols, you know. So without my name being on it, they see the dog and they know, oh, that's a Will Roberson hat, you know.
So you're doing, for the people who are not watching but only listening, so you're doing bucket hats.
I'm doing bucket hats.
You're doing baseball caps.
Baseball caps.
You're doing trucker hats.
Trucker hats.
And you're doing wool hats.
What
I call
cashmere.
Well, okay. That's
Cashmere.
still wool.
Yeah, and I'll show you some other stuff too, like mask. Like this is a all handmade mask for winter, trimmed with leather, right? You know, and I made this so if you're smoking a joint, you can have the mask.
There is a hole, ladies and gentlemen, for you to put your product.
Yeah, you know, you could have the mask on and in the hole for the smoke your joint with, you know. Yeah, I decided to take it in so many different directions, you know, because you always got to come out with something different, you know. You can't bore the people with the same thing all the time, you know. So, well, this is my fisherman hat. Let me show you this. This is my fisherman hat.
Okay.
But it has some exotic skin on the inside. See that? This is a fish from the Amazon. What's the name of that?
So ladies and gentlemen who are just listening, this is an orange bucket hat, which he also calls a fisherman hat. They're interchangeable.
Yeah.
But what's unique is the inner lining of this hat.
It's lined with exotic fish skin from the Amazon.
Yes. an exotic fish skin that we both forgot.
Forgot the name.
Right, but it's not a piranha. So
it's a pararoku, something like that.
Similar.
Something like that.
Something similar.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing,
and these are all one of one, by the way.
All one of ones.
Every hat that I make is one of one.
Wow.
The hat that I'm wearing right now is a hat with real diamonds in the eyes, and the buckle on the back is solid gold. It's a solid gold buckle. So this hat would be, if I sold it, would be $2,500.
Diamonds in the eyes.
Yeah.
You have sold.
I sold a hat with diamonds
in the eyes.
Right.
I saw.
Yeah, my first hat that I sold for $1,000 is because it had 12-point marquee diamonds in the eyes. I got inspired after I sold my first hat for $500. So after I sold the first one for $500, I was like, wow, I wonder if I could sell one for $1,000. How can I sell a hat for $1,000? I said, oh, maybe if I put some diamonds in the eyes, then, you know, that'll justify me selling a hat for $1,000. It was just an idea. But when I sold it, I was like, wow. I said, okay. So then I created this one. You know? So it was like just levels to this shit, man. It was like, it kept going and up and up, man. My dream kept coming true along the process. From my first hat was like $150.
What is the most expensive cap you've sold so far?
It would be the $1,000 one.
The $1,000
that I sold. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the cap now.
I've got
the cap for the cap.
Yeah.
It's $1,000.
I got $1,000 for a hat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, I'm not, you know, Armani or, you know, or Prada or, you know, I'm Will Roberson, you know, and that was very inspiring for me, man. You know, so after the street guys, you know, took to my hats, I ended up on Madison Avenue.
Yes. Let's talk about that. I have done some research.
Yeah.
You are now retailing at Blue and Cream on Madison.
87th Street and Madison Avenue.
I'm well aware.
Yeah. And I got receipts.
I believe you literally and figuratively. Tell me how this relationship with you, and I'm going to assume Mr. Goldstein, Jeffrey Goldstein.
Yeah.
How did that happen? How did you get to Madison Avenue?
I walked in the store. Jeff was in the store. And Jeff saw my hat. And he said, where did you get this hat? I said, I made it. He said, oh yeah? I said, yeah. I said, I noticed you don't have no black designers in here though. He said, okay. He said, I'll tell you what. Give me 10. Not of the diamond hats, but give me 10 hats. And this was right when he first opened on Madison, because he has several shops around the city.
Right.
There's the original shop is in the Hamptons.
Yep.
He has one on Bleecker. There was one in the Bowery, but that's not there anymore.
Okay.
And the Madison Avenue shop on 87th Street. I made a collection for his Madison Avenue shop. The hats immediately began to sell out on Madison Avenue. And I started getting calls from some of Jeff's friends. And the first call I got was from a guy named Jay. Now, Jay is the gentleman who made the Rush Hour movies.
Jay Stern.
Yeah, Jay Stern. He called me twice. First time he called me, he said, Will, I love your hats, man. Can I get a hat for free? I said no and hung up. I said no, Jay. Hung up on him, right? He called me back again. Will, man, I really love your hats, man. You know, can you come on, man? Just, you know, I'm famous. So I looked at his Instagram and I said, Jay, you're not famous. I said, your movies are famous. Stuff that you've done is famous, but I said, nah, Jay, and plus you're rich.
Yeah, he's a producer.
Yeah, you did Rush Hour, you did Horrible Bosses and all that.
Stacking.
I said, you can pay me, Jay.
Yeah.
So then I finally let him get a hat on a discount. So we worked out a deal.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he's rocking my stuff. So one day I went into the shop and a girl who works there, she told me, she said, you know, Michael J. Fox comes in here often. He's always looking for your stuff. And then she printed out a receipt to show me, you know, and I'm looking at the receipt, you know, this, that, and then my hat is there. And she said, he loves your stuff, and he comes back all the time looking to get a hat from you. So Michael J. Fox, you know, is one of my clients. I never met him, you know, but I was like, wow, like, you know. And then Brooke Shields, you know, she came out of that Madison Avenue situation as well. So did Kelly Ben Simon.
Yep, the model.
Yeah, the model and from Real Housewives. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she came in. She had a fur collection that she had in blue and cream, and she did a photo shoot with her fur jacket on, and then she put on one of my hats. She was like, I love these hats. She put them on, and then that ended up in the Daily Mail in London.
I saw.
Yeah, so that's how that came about. So you know, I mean, I've been very fortunate, just going with my instincts and my, you know, listening to the inner voice just saying, man, you better make hats because that's gonna be the next big thing. And then boom, all of this stuff happened. You know, that's how it came about.
How did it feel? How did you feel when you became the first black retailer and designer in blue and cream?
It's one thing to get in a shop, but it's another thing to sell from a shop, you know? And so the first dream was to get in. But then when my stuff started flying off the shelf, I was like, wow, like, you know, I really have something here, you know? And I felt accomplished, man. It was like, really, it was a dream come true for me, man. You know, because after I was in there, I know several other black designers that tried to get up in blue and cream, and it didn't happen for them, you know? So I feel very, very lucky, very fortunate, you know? And I want to take my hats now international. You know, I think I made a lot of impact in America and in New York City, but now I want to go to Asia, I want to go to Korea, I want to go to Japan. You know, I actually want to get like some type of deal so I can make this a mass product. Because right now, these are art pieces because they're all one of one. Right. But I would like to do like a major mass production deal. Like that's where my mind is at right now.
When you found out that Michael J. Fox not only was a client,
right, but was a fan,
but became a fan.
Yeah.
And Michael J. Fox is our era.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's Alex P. Keaton.
Yeah.
So, how did it feel? Someone that you grew up with from afar.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, is checking for you.
I was blown away, man. I mean, it was, you know, like I said, this whole experience of me making these hats and the reception that I've gotten, it's been immense, man. I'm very humbled by it, you know, very humbled by it.
I mean, when you think about it, Will, you went from your hat being truly ghetto fab,
yeah,
to then hitting the mainstream.
Yes. Yeah, I had no idea. But I will say this. One day I was on 120th and Lenox, and Alpo had the blue velvet hat on. And as he was walking away, I said, yo, Al. Well, I called him Poe. I said, yo, Poe. I said, one day these hats are going to be worth a lot of money. And then he turned around with that $1 million smile, and he said, oh, yeah? You know? And then he walked off. Yeah, that was interesting. And you know, Alpo is my biggest model out of everybody. I mean, he's been seen millions and millions of times. Unfortunately, when he died, you know, there's posts that have millions of views on it. The Fox News report had pictures of him wearing my hat. I don't even know how they got the pictures. Yeah, I was like, where did they get these pictures from? You know, the Fox News report, and then all of these documentaries on YouTube and all that stuff, you know, have him wearing my stuff, you know. And I was like, wow, so he kind of cemented it into history.
Yeah.
You know, because his story is always going to be out there. You know, I think there's going to be a series actually on his life coming soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's going to be big when that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
You're from uptown.
Yes.
You talk about Mel Maxi.
Yes.
So you were talking about Mel Maxi.
Yeah.
And I know Maxi was down with Dap.
Yes, he was. He was a little kid in the back of the shop back in the day when Dap was doing his thing on 125th.
Yep, I remember the spot. Never went in, but I remember.
Yeah. And after Dap got busted, you know why Dap got busted?
Yeah,
because of the Mike Tyson fight.
Come on, man. We're both native New Yorkers. I wasn't there. Yes.
Yeah, Mike Tyson got into a fight.
Mitch Blood Green. I remember.
Right.
Bro.
Yeah.
Listen, this is your life.
Yeah. And then I'm talking about for the people who don't know.
No, I know.
Mike Tyson was at Dapper Bands and got into a fight with Mitch
Blood Green.
Right, and it was on the news.
Blew the lid off of everything.
Then Gucci and them was like, "Who was this guy using our logo?"
Using our stuff.
Right, and then feds came in, shut him down. But so Dap was shut down, but Mel Maxi kept it going.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because Mel Maxi met a lot of the celebrities in the back of Dapper Dan. That's how he met Alpo back in the day. You know, so Mel Maxi kept it alive, throughout the years, and he's still doing his thing now.
Do you see any influence? Because I do. Between you and Dap, like I'm looking at what you're doing.
Okay.
And you've got materials.
Yeah.
I feel there's a connection.
Well,
what do you think?
In the spirit of Harlem and being an entrepreneur, yeah, definitely there's a connection. But the difference between me and Dapper Dan was I didn't put my logo on
Logomania.
I didn't put my logo on any other brand, Gucci or LV or nothing like that in the beginning. Like it was just my guy, Lucky, standing alone. But after doing it for like 2 years, I decided, now I can mix Lucky with a little Gucci here, a little LV there, because there's a client for that as well, But I wanted my brand to stand out on its own before I started to do that.
Well, let's talk about brands.
Yeah.
Now I know you do one of ones.
One of one, yeah.
Right. I noticed when I was doing my research.
Yeah.
You have a distress cap, baseball cap.
Yes.
What is the difference between your distress cap and Balenciaga's distress cap?
The difference is mine is a one-on-one, and Balenciaga is a mass product. So I'm like, if people are willing to spend $600-700 on a Balenciaga cap that 5 or 1,000 other people have, fine. But I decided, I'll do what they're doing, but I'll make mine a one-of-one.
Okay. Did you actually source Balenciaga's cap? Did you look at it?
Oh, I went to Bergdorf Goodman, man.
Okay.
I do my research.
Okay.
When I start to make hats, I go and constantly do my research, see what the other brands are making, and I go, you know what? None of these brands is messing with my hats. So I feel like this is an area that I can thrive in. I always do my research though. I do a lot of market research before I make something.
Now we're talking about your patrons.
Okay.
You got 2 fans that just got me all excited. Daddy-O and Delight the Stetsasonic are rocking your caps. I saw the documentary,
right.
Unsung,
yes.
TV One.
Right.
Break that down.
Well, first of all, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I was surprised at how much light my stuff got in the documentary. I thought it would be a quick.
Well, how do you even know these guys?
That's called product placement, by the way. How do I know? I know Daddy-O for like 30 years. Yeah. Daddy-O used to manage me back in like 92. Wow. Him and Kedar Massenberg had Okie Dokie Music in Brooklyn. Kedar Massenberg is a huge executive from the music business.
Yep.
He started with Daddy-O, and not long after I left, because I left after about a year. Nothing was really going on with me. I called Kedar, and I said, man, I want to release from my contract. And he got offended. You know how Kedar can be.
I actually do, because we almost went at it once.
Yeah. So anyway, he got offended, but he let me go.
Okay.
And then next thing I know, Erykah Badu was out, D'Angelo was out. I was like, damn, I should have stayed, But anyway, Daddy-O started Kedar, and me and Daddy-O maintained a friendship, and I used to run with Daddy-O in and out of sessions as he was producing other people. You know, he produced Mary J. Blige and Biggie's Real Love remix, which became Biggie's first.
Yeah. That was him? I had no idea that was him. Like, yeah, I remember the remix.
If you listen to it, Biggie says Puff and Daddy-O bring the verse in.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah, so, you know.
Yeah, I totally remember that one.
Yeah, so I was, you know, running around with Daddy-O, you know, as he's producing different artists. You know, he's done a lot of different productions with like Red Hot Chili Peppers and They Might Be Giants. The black rock group Living Color.
Yeah.
Check out a song called Funny Vibe, the video. Daddy was in the video. He produced them.
Okay.
So he goes from rock to hip hop, but he also is a very stylish cat, you know. So he always admired my style and how I dress and everything. And so when I started to make hats, maybe like 4 years ago, I started in 2020. And when I first started, Daddy-O asked me for a hat, and I had to tell him no. Because I had just started.
You wanted to hook up?
Well, he asked for a hat, and I wasn't giving nobody anything free at that time.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, I wanted to make sure that everybody who had my stuff was actually paying me for it. You know, because if you give everything away, you don't know, you know, the value of it in terms of will people actually buy it. Sure. You know, because a lot of stuff, a lot of brands, they give everything away for free at first, but then no one's buying it. I wanted to make sure I created the traction of people buying it first before I started to give it away to different celebrities and famous people. So for the first 2 years, if you had a hat of mine, you had to know me and you had to pay me for it. So anyway, Daddy-O and Delight and Stetsasonic just had their Flowers on Unsung.
Yeah, I saw the documentary.
Yeah, it's a great documentary.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out. You know, on TV1. They got like 40 million people over there, so you know it's a good platform. Anyway, let me take a sip. Hold on, man. I was surprised to see how much they used my hat in the documentary. You know.
Yeah, it's there.
I mean, it's in there a lot, and somebody was like, "Yo, man, did you pay for that product placement?" I just said, "No, I got the relationship." You know, so having relationships with the right people is important.
Yeah.
You know,
I totally agree.
Yeah.
So you talk about relationships.
Yeah.
Did some research on your gram. You got a guy. He's a stan. I mean, he just reps you. Who is Chuck Wilson?
Chuck Wilson is one of my best clients. I met Chuck during the pandemic at the Soho Grand Hotel. I often frequent the Soho Grand Diner, and a couple of times I was in there, I looked across and I seen this very stylish black guy sitting there with all these diamonds and all the latest fashions and everything, real fashion plate. So I said to myself one day, if I come in here again and see that brother again, I'm gonna go over and introduce myself. So one day I went over and I introduced myself to Chuck, and we had a great conversation, and I said, I'm a designer, I make hats. You know, he said, well, show me what you got. So I showed him a couple of hats, and he bought 3, like right on the spot.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Well, you say another D word, but
Yeah.
wow.
Well, he flies in like once a month.
Oh, he's not a New Yorker?
No, he doesn't live in New York.
All right.
He lives in Florida and he lives in D.C. But he's in New York, I think maybe twice a month.
All right.
He comes to New York, he handles his business, and then he does some shopping. I mean, Chuck might be somebody that you might want to talk to about the podcast. He's
okay.
A fly dude,
Yeah.
very influential. Be a great conversation.
Chuck, let's do it if you're interested.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That is super duper.
Yep.
So, explain to me. So, kind of laced us with
some beverage.
Yeah, with some libations, some alcohol.
Yes.
So, I checked out the name. I'm not familiar with this name, but I love the name.
Okay.
Origen.
Yes.
Why don't you explain to me why we're doing this for people who are not who are listening? Why do we have this product placement with this brand? What's the deal?
Well, Origen is a company founded by one of my friends and a client and a friend named Amy Homewood. Amy had the idea. She, during the pandemic, matter of fact, another pandemic thing.
Sure.
In the very beginning of the pandemic, she called me and said, "Well, come down to my place in D.C." So went down to her home in D.C. She said, "I have an idea." She told me about she wanted to make some holistic vodka. So I said, "Holistic vodka."
Okay.
Well, it's actually very healthy for you. It's not nothing that we could say legally that it's healthy, but it actually is better for you in terms of the liver and all. It has a lot of antioxidants and it has artichoke in it.
Okay.
What does it say? Elderberry, grapes, green tea. No, it's muscadine grapes. It tastes very good, and she started it, and then she brought Woody Harrelson in, and Woody Harrelson tasted it. He loved it. He became the celebrity spokesperson for it, and also an investor in the company.
Nice.
So, now they're partners. And then one day Amy called me and she asked me to make some very fine swag for the company.
So what did you make exactly?
I made some sweatshirts and I made some gray velvet caps.
Okay. I saw the cap.
And truckers too.
And truckers. Okay.
Yeah. And she hired me to make the swag. And so it's a brand new company. And I'm always getting involved in things at the very inception of it, I'm not afraid to be involved in the very beginning to help things grow. So, this is a new venture and we're doing stuff together and it's a great product. I can't wait for everybody to taste this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a question I have for you. When I was on the gram, I saw a cap that seemed to be similar to your cap. So I'm going to hit you with it.
Okay.
Did New Era bite your style?
Well, a couple of people...
Streets is watching, son. What is the deal? What's going on?
Yeah, man. A couple of people hit me up and was like, "Yo, bro, New Era, bit your swag with the blue velvet baseball caps."
Yeah, you will.
And it's not far-fetched. Not far-fetched because, like, during the pandemic, as we said, I started with a lot of the street guys. And one of the most famous street guys in terms of fashion was Mr. Alpo Martinez.
Alpo.
Yeah, I mean, he got millions and millions of views, and he was wearing my blue velvet baseball cap. And like I said, it's not far-fetched because I know a lot of companies that have people who have their eyes and their ears to the streets.
To the streets.
In terms of trends, what's hot, and what's working, what are people wearing, and so yeah, it won't be the first time a corporation has jacked my style.
Okay. That sounds like real talk.
Yeah, man. I am an influencer, but from the ground up. I'm not one of those high-level multi-millions followers, but people are watching. They're watching me to see what I do. Right. That I do know. So
yeah, well, it seems very real in the field.
Yeah, man.
All right.
New Era, if you want to do a deal, holla. We could collaborate.
That would be dope.
We could collaborate on something.
WR New Era.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Why not? I'm with it. Yep.
All right. Got some questions for you.
Okay.
Why is fashion important?
Fashion is important because when people first see you, they judge you based on what they see.
I totally agree.
So I look at fashion as a costume.
Okay.
And if you're wearing a certain costume, you're gonna get a certain effect, a certain idea about who you are as a person. So my personal style has always been, I stick with the classics. I don't do a lot of logos, nothing like that.
And who are the classics to you when you say I stick to the classics?
Ralph Lauren. I like Paul Smith.
I'm rocking a Paul Smith right now.
Oh, okay. See? Yeah. So, I like Ralph, I like Paul, I like other brands like Wagner. Have you ever heard of Wagner?
Not familiar.
Check out Wagner.
Okay.
For like sportswear, ski jackets.
Oh, VOGNER, Wagner.
No, Wagner.
B-O-G. Yeah. I'm sorry. I heard you, but it didn't. Yeah. that's a classic. That is a classic. Yeah. I know Wagner.
You know, and for the brands that get really creative, my favorite brand is Montclair.
Okay.
I love what they do. It's very artistic what they do. You know.
Yeah, I walked by the shop in Soho.
Yeah.
Man, I saw something in the window.
Right.
I was like, what?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That might have been the same day I saw you at Slowware, because that's right around the corner.
Right down the block.
Right. I think it might have been.
Right down the block.
Yeah, because this was pre-COVID.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What difference has fashion made in your life?
Fashion has made an immense difference in my life because, you know, I'm from Harlem, and when you're from Harlem, man, you got to be fresh.
Absolutely.
You know?
Super duper fly.
Yeah, man. And you got to be fresh, and you got to have some individuality.
Absolutely.
You know?
That's the New York way, not just uptown.
Right.
If I may say.
Yeah,
That's just New York.
Right.
But
yeah.
But uptown is uptown. You're the cultural center.
Right. Yeah, for style and all that stuff. I always believed in having other brands that are classic, but I wanted to add something of my own. So now, you know, I have on like this Ralph Lauren pouch. You know, I have on
the pants are fly.
These Adidas. I don't know if you can see these. These custom Adidas and Japanese pants by Matsuda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, and you know, I want some Will Roberson too, though. I gotta put some Will Roberson on.
Yeah. Representing yourself. Yeah. You're on brand.
No doubt. No doubt. You know. So yeah, fashion is everything to me, man. It's just a form of expression. You know, it's a way that you can make yourself sort of like a canvas. You know, the naked body is a blank canvas, and what you decide to put on, the textures, the colors, you know, the patinas and all that. You know, it's your way of presenting yourself to the world and being unforgettable. You know, I'm into colognes too, heavy, but we can talk about that another time. You know, because you gotta smell good too. You know. Oh yeah.
What's the top fashion tip you would give the everyday man so he could look his best?
Always have some nice shoes. Shoes are important. Have at least 2 nice suits, 2 sports jackets that you can interchange with the pants of the suits. 5 shirts, 5 nice dress shirts. I forgot the question.
You kind of answered it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You gotta have certain pieces in your wardrobe that you could just interchange with each other, you know, and then every now and then you buy a new piece, you know. You don't have to buy a lot of stuff.
I agree.
But buy the right stuff and then, you know, just interchange every now and then, get fresh, you know, with some socks, some ties, you know, maybe some wristwear, you know what I'm saying? Have a couple of nice watches, you know, glasses, you know, eyewear is important.
Yep.
You know, the accessories are very important.
I agree.
You know? Yeah. Have some standard stuff, but make the accessories have flair. You know?
I like it.
Yeah.
Last question that I ask of all my guests now.
Yeah.
What does always be fly mean to you?
Always be fly means always be ready for the opportunity. Even if you're running out and going to the store. Make sure you dress appropriately, because you never know who you're gonna run into. You know.
Real talk.
So that's what it means to me. You know what I'm saying? If you're always prepared and always ready, you never know when you walk out that door. You know who's gonna step into your life and be like, you know what, I like your style. You know, especially if you're in fashion. So.
Real talk.
When you're in fashion, make sure it's always fashionable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bro. This is really great.
Thank you, man.
No, thank you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. You know that.
Yeah, man.
You're the first generation of this podcast.
Yes.
And you've seen me grow and
yes.
come up.
And I'm here to support it all the way, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
That really means a lot. You know
yes.
that. So thank you.
No doubt. All right.
All right.